Welcome to this week's assembly. Jesus told lots of parables. They're short stories involving real life situations that's teaching something about God or something about how we should live. I'm going to tell you one of Jesus' shortest parables in a minute. And as I'm doing so, I'd like you to think about what it is you think Jesus might be trying to say to us through this story. Once there was a rich man who had lots of farmland. He planted crops, and the crops grew and grew and grew, and they had fantastic yield. In fact, there were so many crops, so much corn and other crops, that he couldn't fit them in his barn. He said to himself, "What am I going to do? I know, I'll smash down my barns and build even bigger barns so that it can all fit in. And then I'll say, great job. I've got everything I need for a good and easy life. I'm going to take things easy. I'm going to drink, eat, sleep, and enjoy myself." But God said to the rich man, "You fool, tonight you will have to give up your life. Who then will get all these things you've kept for yourself?" I'm going to tell you a modern story now involving a tennis player that I think might be teaching something similar. Perhaps you can see as I tell it what you think might be similar between this story and Jesus' story, what we might learn from those things. Okay. Once upon a time, there was a young girl called Keziah. When she was 8 years old, she was watching Wimbledon, the tennis competition, on the television. And as she watched, she thought to herself, I want to be at Wimbledon. I want to lift the Wimbledon trophy one day. And so she started practicing tennis. And the more she practiced, the better she got, and the better she got, the more she practiced. Very soon she was the best player at her primary school. When she went to secondary school at year 7, straight away she got into the school tennis team. She kept practicing and getting better and better. She soon played for the county. And soon she was the best player in the county. One day her brother said, "Keziah, can I practice tennis with you?" "No," she said, "I'm too busy. Anyway, you're not good enough." Keziah continued training hard. And when she was 18 years old, she entered her first Wimbledon. And she got through to the final, amazingly. In the final, she played brilliantly. It got to match point. It was a nerve-wracking moment. The umpire said, "Quiet, please." Keziah prepared to serve. She served. And it was an ace. The crowd went wild. Keziah fell to her knees with her arms up in the air. She'd done it. She'd achieved her dream. The umpire said, "Game, set, a match." All the practice had paid off. Very soon after that, Keziah had a racket named after her. She had her own brand of trainers with her name on. She became very, very rich. She was a megastar. All she cared about was playing tennis and her next competition. But she wasn't really happy. Maybe it was because she didn't have time for anyone or anything else. When she was asked for her autograph by her fans, she said, "I'm sorry, I'm too busy," and wouldn't sign. The local headmaster phoned her up and said, "Could you please come to the school and do some coaching for us?" "Sorry, I'm too busy," she said. Keziah bought a big house, massive house in the countryside. It had 8 bedrooms, a massive garden and grounds. It had its own swimming pool, its own tennis court, and round the perimeter there was a great big fence, and on top of the fence there was barbed wire. she wanted to keep out all her fans and all the reporters. She soon became the most famous tennis star the world has ever seen. One day, all the national newspapers had a big heading on the back page: "Top tennis player retires." Do you think now Keziah had time for her family, her friends and her fans? No. She only had time to watch DVDs of herself playing tennis and winning tournaments. Her glory days. Requests came into her by phone and email and letter from different charities asking if she would come and work for them. Her answer was always the same: "I'm too busy." Her friends asked her to visit them. "I'm too busy," was the answer. The Tennis Association phoned her up and said, "Could you come and train some of our young players and coach them?" Again, her answer was, "I'm too busy." Eventually, the DVDs wore out. There was nothing to watch. So Keziah decided, "I'll throw a party. I'll invite all my friends and they could come and tell me how great my career was." She sent loads of letters and invites. No one came. Not one person. I wonder why. Why do you think no one came? Can you think of anything similar between Keziah's story and Jesus' story of the rich man? It's great to be good at something and to work hard and try and get better and be the best we can be and try to get to the top. It's good to use our talents as the best we can. But it's always also important to be kind to others and remember other people too. Many people want to be famous and rich, but many famous and rich people are not happy. Many of them are lonely. Thinking about Jesus' story, the rich man, he thought only about himself, didn't he? He didn't think about God, who'd created everything and who had enabled his crops to grow so that he had so many. He didn't think about anybody else, thinking about sharing some of his food with people who hadn't got enough food or other poorer people. He didn't think about helping anybody else. And I think Jesus is saying, or one of the things Jesus is saying, is that we need to be careful how we think and how we act and how we use the good things that God has given us. Because the rich man was just selfish, wasn't he? And really, Keziah was just selfish. They both had a lot of things, but didn't really do anything to help anybody else. Do you remember what Jesus said was the two greatest commandments in the Bible, in the Old Testament? Love God and love others as yourself, is what he said. Right, I've got a short prayer now, after which we can have our quiz. Dear God, thank you for giving us everything we need. Help us to remember people who don't have as much as we do. Thank you for the talents and the skills that you've given us. Help us to use these talents and skills to the best of our ability to be the best that we can be. Also, help us to be kind and generous to others and think about what really matters in life. Amen. Okay, so here's the quiz, 9 questions. Question 1. The rich man in Jesus' story had loads of crops, too many to fit into his barn. What did he decide to do? Number 2, what did he say to himself that he would do, that he deserved really? What did he say that he deserved because he'd got all his crops? Number 3, what was the name of the tennis star? And number 4, how old was she when she won Wimbledon? Number 5, when the headmaster asked her if she'd come and coach at the local school, what did she say? What answer did she give? 6, describe her house. There's many things you could say. Just say something about her house. Describe it. Give you a second to do that. Number 7, when she retired, what did she do? Number 8, who came to her party? And number 9, what does the stories of the rich man and the tennis star teach us? There could be several things you might think of, and you might want to discuss them in your classes. But I'll give 1 or 2 answers in a second. Okay, number 1. The rich man decided to smash his own barns and build bigger barns. Or if you just put build bigger barns would be enough. Number 2, what did he say to himself? Eat, drink, and enjoy yourself. He thought he deserved that. Number 3, the tennis star was named Keziah. Keziah. But don't worry if you spout it wrong. Number 4, she was 18 when she won Wimbledon. Number 5, when the headmaster asked her to coach at the school, she said, I'm too busy. 6, describe her house. Any of these things would do. Big house, 8 bedrooms, swimming pool, tennis court, fence and barbed wire around it. One of those things, you can get a point. Number 7, when she retired, she watched DVDs. Number 8, who came to her party? No one. Nobody at all. And 9, what do the stories of the rich man and Keziah teach us? I think one thing they teach is not to be selfish, to use the things we have, our possessions and our skills, our talents, not only for ourselves, but for others. You could just put not to be selfish. So any of those things would get a point, but that's something you might want to talk more about in your classes. Anyway, great to see you as it always is. I hope to see you soon. Bye. Bye.